Bigfoot, Dogman, Jersey Devil, and others. Are they real? Figments of our imagination? Or the most cleverly disregarded reality of all time? Come into the cabin, let's sit down and find out together. Hey guys, welcome back to the cabin. I'm Robbie.
I'm Norman.
And we are still without Johnny again. He seems like he's always got something he's got going on, but we miss him so much when he's not at the cabin.
You know, those little chicken legs in that kilt running around doing things, you know. He's a busy man.
We miss you, Johnny. Hurry up and get back to the cabin with us. But Johnny should be back next time. He just had some stuff come up that he had to take care of. Johnny's got a couple of businesses he's got going on. He's got a farm, pretty much, I think, that he has to run. So sometimes he has things go on. He can't make it. So we'll keep it going for you, Johnny.
I'm sure. And hopefully when time comes back, he'll have some interesting stories for us to share on our next sessions.
Yeah, I think he is working a couple of...
He's working on a potential sighting of Bigfoot in Pumpkintown area.
Yep, he's working on some... talking to some people about that.
And he was looking into obscure sighting of a creature that has been debunked, unfortunately.
Yeah. But we were going to have a show on that one, but it kind of got derailed before it even got on. But that's fine, because I would rather find out
the truth.
The truth before we start putting it on here.
And that would have been an awesome show,
yeah.
too.
But speaking of the truth, what's the show about tonight, Norm?
You ever hear of the Men in Black?
Yeah, I've heard of the Men in Black.
Well,
I'm assuming we're not talking about Will Smith and Tommy Lee Jones, though.
Exactly. We're not talking about them. The mysterious Men in Black first come to notice in 1947. Now, what's famous about 1947? Do you remember from the previous show we talked about?
1947. Was that something to do with the Bermuda Triangle, or?
No, it was the first year that the UFOs became popular.
Oh, that's right. That's when people really started sighting them, but it really started getting to be.
Exactly.
Pop culture, is that the right term to use?
Yes, it is.
It was pop culture to talk about UFOs.
There was an incident at a place called Murray Island in Washington State, I believe it was, where a UFO was discharging flaming metal debris from its craft over the Puget Sound, and it landed on a trawler type ship, killed a dog, and eventually disappeared. Well, this brought the U.S. Air Force out to investigate. 2 pilots flew out to the West Coast in a B-25, I think it was. They did their investigations, recovered the metal, and upon getting ready to fly back to the East Coast to Wright Davis, their plane crashed and they died. Well, this is where it gets a little spooky. Well, a man in black showed up and started harassing the witnesses. And it was using methods of intimidation to tell them they didn't see nothing happened, nothing occurred, to forget everything, hand over any material they had. And they would say they were with the government, but never showed any IDs, never said which branch of the government they were with, but were very forceful, very determined. And this is how the Men in the Black began.
So they didn't just show up and hit them with the little flashy thing like they did in the movie.
No flashy things.
It was more a be quiet or else type.
Be quiet or else. Some would say like J. Edgar Hoover's FBI on steroids.
Yeah, that's...
And then you multiply it by 2.
Yeah, because Hoover didn't play around too much. If he wanted something done, he got it done. So
but see, Hoover was actually the opposite when it come to UFO investigations. He was very open-minded about it. He was actually upset he was closed out of the crash down there in New Mexico, but that's another story.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is where Men in Black had their birth, was Maury Island. They were threatening a UFO investigator as well, and this is where it all started.
Well, I mean, I hate to keep using this analogy, but we see all these movies.
Mm-hmm.
These movies have to have some kind of basis of truth.
Exactly.
And so, I guess, Will and Tommy just had
They're making
basis
the
out of
fun.
Yeah, they're making fun of what happened there. I mean, I can't remember what year they teased that started this in that movie, but it was somewhere back in the 40s, I want to say.
Late 40s, 50s.
Yeah,
it was based around a World's Fair in New York City.
The first one was. The second one, they actually had a different date that some stuff. I mean, all three of it's all the same.
Yeah, I didn't see the third one. The third one involved time travel.
Yeah.
The second one involved an alien princess, which was the daughter of Kay.
But it goes back to when Kay first started. Yeah. So that was, and I want to say that was somewhere in that time frame.
Yeah.
I don't remember exactly what day. They may have said what day. I don't know. But it's weird that everything we always end up talking about, we end up coming back to that because
there's always some
little sliver of truth is in there.
Mm-hmm.
And I've heard some people say before that any of these little fantastical things you see in the movies, like the movie Stealth, for example, about the AI planes and all that stuff. That movie's made back in what early 2000s, I think.
Look how it is now.
Yeah. And Top Gun Maverick, the plane that he was flying in the first of that movie, that was based on what was supposed to take the place of the SR-71 Blackbird. And they brought in
people from engineer folks to build it.
Yeah, to make it as close as they possibly, not as close as they possibly could because they couldn't make it as close, but as they were allowed to. I should say would be the better terminology for that. So makes you wonder if all these things, like these movies that have this stuff going on, do they have their own little Men in Black agents walking around making sure they don't get too close?
They're probably given the scripts and told to write it, or the basis.
Yeah, now you got to take that out. That's too close. No, don't say that. No, that's okay to say.
If you ever get a chance, find a movie called Ted.
Ted with the
it's about an alien.
Okay, we're not talking about the one with the little teddy bear that comes to life.
No. I think it was called Ted, and it's the two guys that played in Shaun of the Dead, and
I think that's Paul.
Okay, Paul.
Ted's about the teddy bear that comes to life. His little buddy. And then I think the movie you're talking about is Paul.
Watch it.
Okay. I've seen little bits and pieces of it. I don't think I've sat down and watched it all the way through.
Watch the whole thing. Trust me. It'll answer a lot of some of the questions that you're saying as bits and pieces.
I have to look it back up and see if I can find it.
It is worth it. Plus, it's a good movie just to watch. But getting back to the phenomenon, this started, like I say, in 1947. But then, going forward, okay, the Men in the Black have shown up at a lot of UFO sightings where people have claimed to see things or had personal encounters, and they showed up, sometimes even dressed as U.S. Air Force officers, and go, no, you didn't see this didn't occur, you have to forget about this, and using intimidation tactics. And there's even things have said that some UFO reportees have mysteriously died after encounters with Men in Black. Now, we talked, I think I may have talked about the Kecksburg. We talked about Kecksburg UFO, the acorn shape. Well, in that area, there's a lot of encounters that go up that way that go with UFOs and Bigfoot, cryptids, and other things. Well, a UFO was seen with a Bigfoot type encounter. Well, there's already I want to say it was Stan Gordon was investigating. If it wasn't him, it was another researcher was investigating this with the family that seen the sighting. Well, he wasn't there, and this gentleman come up claiming to be with the U.S. Air Force. And the kid had a picture, had proof on the ground. The investigators showed up, destroyed the proof on the ground, took the pictures the kid had, ripped it out of the hands, and when the kid tried to get it back, couldn't get it from this investigator. When the family and friends tried to get it, he started fighting with them, and then the mother called the investigator that was actually helping him and said, "No, I don't know this person. They ain't nothing to do with us. He ain't affiliated with us. We don't know him." When the guy heard this, he took off running, and somebody wrote down the guy's tag number. Get this, the tag didn't exist.
Oh, imagine that.
Yeah. So, a lot of intimidation is being used by these men in black. You've heard of Mothman, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, there's been men in black sightings with Mothman.
Well, tell me what alphabet soup organization do you think that they're part of? I mean, do you think they're actually... I guess what I'm saying is, are they a known entity within the government, or are they so secret that most secret agencies within the government doesn't even know that they exist?
NRO, the National Reconnaissance Office.
Yeah, I mean...
That would be, they handle space.
Maybe the NSA too, sort of, possibly.
Maybe.
I mean, because...
It's a subdirectory, I think, of the NSA, if I remember right. Because I don't think the CIA might have something to do with them. But for some reason, NRO comes to mind. If I say Rendlesham's Forest, what comes to mind?
I know I've heard that, and I can't
It
think
was in England. U.S. Air Force Security Police, for a couple days straight, had a UFO encounter.
That's probably why I've heard it then.
Yeah,
but...
it was a couple documentaries were done. Security police went out there. The base deputy commander went out there. Men in black. But they never said which agency they were with. Debriefed the men and did a deep hypnosis session with these gentlemen and administered chemicals so they would forget.
Oh, so they went full...
They went full MIB.
Yeah. Full little flashy light thing, me.
Yeah.
Without the little flashy light.
But that would have probably been CIA, DIA, NRO, maybe. But then again, sometimes this secret MIB organization can pass it off itself as somebody else. Now, there is another story behind the MIB. Some say they're demonic. Some say they're kind of oriental looking with dark skin.
Yeah, I've heard that. I've heard, the reptilian eyes and things like that. That they're part of that. I guess it's just
the world order.
Yeah, the New World Order, the reptilians and things like. Which you go back and watch the movie They Live with Roddy Piper.
Yeah,
and
them.
Keith David.
Was it them?
It's either them or They Live. I think. Anyway, whichever movie it was with Roddy Piper and Keith David, where they put the glasses on, they could see the aliens and all that. That I can't remember. I can't remember what that was actually. It was based on a novel, or maybe an earlier movie, and that was a remake. But that was John Carpenter that redid that. They Live. John Carpenter, 1988, starring Roddy Piper and Keith David. Probably one of the best fight scenes of any movie because Roddy Piper and Keith David just pretty much said, okay, let's just beat the ever loving piss out of each other, and they did, and it was filmed and it was great. If you like action, that's a good because it was a real fight. They just had fun with it. But anyway, back to the. I digress because we're talking about fights and stuff and guns and all that kind of stuff.
We do Bigfoot. We like to consider as our primary focus. Out in we're going to go back to Washington State here, and there's been numerous occasions where residents have had encounters with Bigfoot in the negative, and they've made numerous complaints with the sheriff's department, parks department, going as far as taking matters in their own hand and throwing lead. And then, out of the blue, two men show up. One is dressed like a park ranger, but he looks like a biker dressed as a park ranger. And the other one's wearing a dress shirt and a tie and glasses. Looks like somebody from the Nerds. And says he's in law enforcement, but never shows a badge or credentials. And they go on to harass, intimidate the assailees about not to mess with Bigfoot. They're supposed to leave them alone. Need to leave the area if they have to. Move. And this has not happened once, but numerous times that these two gentlemen have appeared in similar disguise as park rangers / law enforcement, harassing people about Bigfoot.
It seems like there's a lot of those stories where, somebody doesn't want something, and we even talked about this just with podcasting.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you watched the last couple of episodes we've had DAX Machina, but we've had some technical issues over the past couple of shows.
I've been watching our brothers, William Nighthawks.
Yeah, William's
he's
another
been
one.
hit hard.
Yeah, like last night, have no clue why the show did what it did. DA made the thing like normal. All of a sudden, it goes from he's on Central Standard Time, whereas right now we're on Eastern Time.
Mm-hmm.
So his show starts 9 o'clock our time, 8 o'clock his time. While all of a sudden the show is starting at 7 o'clock. So when he goes to try to fix it, all of a sudden YouTube won't allow it to go back. It was we almost had to cancel the show.
Wow.
Just because, and I know Williams had trouble. Krista and Brandy have had some technical issues on their end. So, and you can't blame it on one platform because we were on Restream at the time. They were still on StreamYard. I think Williams still
Everybody's
using
been on
StreamYard.
a different
platforms. It's different platforms, and I can't remember what show we were talking about this, but said it seems like when you hit too close to home on a certain topic.
Yes, this was mentioned a while back, so I recall being on that show when we mentioned that.
Yeah, so it's just almost like you hit that certain pitch level of whatever. Okay, they're in this range right here.
And it's like they're trying to stop you for a while because they're afraid you might try to sneak something in the middle of a different show.
Yep. And DA and I both froze up at the exact same time. Both of our computers froze up. Krista was on the show with us, and both of our computers froze.
Yeah, I watched that.
You watched that one? I mean, at the exact same time, we both froze. What are the odds of that?
I guess I should stop sticking pins in the computer voodoo doll I've been using. So,
okay, we figured it out. It's Norm. He's messing with us. But still, all joking aside, what are the odds of both of our computers freezing up at the exact same moment, and we both had to back out? Krista's sitting there trying to talk, do this show completely by herself. That it's not even her show. and it's
slim to none and slim left.
yeah. So I mean, there's a lot of that stuff that happens. I mean,
Somebody's afraid somebody's going to slip and say something, but they shouldn't.
I don't think they're going to slip. I think it's just there's certain things that when you get too close to what is really, and I've heard DA talk about, one of his buddies that was in SF said that somebody had asked him one time, hey, where's he get his information from for his books? Because he was apparently getting too close for comfort on some things in some of the books. You just...
I told DA I had a suggestion about that, and I'm going to hold that till after the podcast, and I'll share it with you. And you might look at me like I'm crazy, but
yes, let's wait so we don't get it shut down. Because even though
I have theories about going back when it comes to movies and books sometimes, and it's enlightening in a sense.
Well, like I said, all this stuff could be coincidence. But when you start looking at, some of the stuff that you've brought up here, and you start thinking about all these movies that are, quote unquote, making fun of this, it don't take a rocket scientist to put two and two together.
Exactly.
So,
but watch Paul, seriously.
I'm gonna have to look it up and watch that one.
It's a funny movie. It's also like the guys from Hot Fuzz, Shaun of the Dead. I mean, but Paul was pretty good. You'll get an idea once you watch it and listen to what Paul has to say when it comes about movies and books. It's something that I've talked about over the years, on and off, with different people, and I'll save it for after the show. And you're going to look at me and go, a light bulb's going to come on.
Well, that's what this show's all about, is turning them light bulbs on. Because we've said it before. Once you see some of these things, it can't be unseen. Once you get your mind wired that these cryptids and these things, it's like I've never had a paranormal encounter. I've never had a UFO encounter, but I've had a Bigfoot encounter. So
I'll trade you any of my paranormal encounters any day.
No, and that's not where I'm going. What I'm going,
I know, but
if one's real, the others have to be real too. And the thing is, once you're wired to that, you're seeing.
You're opening up to a lot more. Trust me.
Other things just start falling into place and making sense. And I'm not saying that we're, all conspiracy theorists and that because some of this stuff, like we've said all the time, it's speculation. We don't know for sure. But when you start looking at these parallels that are drawn between this stuff, a lot of this stuff probably is, if not 100% true, it's pretty close to accurate. And, maybe they don't come out and threaten to kill you, but I guarantee you there's some that come out and say, hey, you need to keep that quiet.
I mean, when I was in the service, I spent 6 months as a peacekeeper in Egypt and Israel. And there was times I'd get a Canadian intelligence officer come and visit me and go, okay, Norman, you didn't see this, or you can report this, you can report that. You didn't see this, even through you, I know you will, and you at this time you'll see this, doing this and that, but you didn't. Okay?
Nope. So, well, that was a pretty mind-blowing show. Eye-opening, I guess, would be the better term for that one.
Maybe one day in the future I'll talk about conspiracy theories and let you know something about books and movies.
Yeah. Maybe we'll have a off microphone conversation about that so we don't get shut down on that one. So, but anyway. Well, Norm, how can the people get in touch with us on?
You can reach us on Facebook on What's Really Out There. My moderators, admins, and we monitor the site. If you have a story to tell, you need someone to listen to you, or you need some help with an issue. We're there for you in any way, shape, or form, locally, and if it's out of state, we have associates and friends all around that can assist you through other organizations as well. We're here to be your backup in some way, shape, or form. If you need to talk, we'll talk with you. If you want us to listen, we'll listen. Need someone to come out and investigate, we'll come out and investigate. And anything more than that, we'll have to really look at it.
And you can also get in touch with us on our YouTube page at What's Really Out There, or you can get in touch with us through email at what'sreallyouthere2022@gmail.com. It's all one word, all together. What's Really Out There 2022. Other than that, you got anything else, Norm?
Nope, just y'all be safe, be careful. You go out in the woods, have a plan.
Yep. All right. We'll see you next time, guys.